organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV.
We're 3 hours away from a government shutdown. Stay tuned because we've got the latest and how a shutdown tomorrow will affect students and a special political alert at the top of the show.
And in sports, we take the pulse of Hawkeye Nation heading into the meat of the Big Ten season.
And find out how a proposed $40 billion cut on food stamps could make it tough to keep the shelves full at local food banks. All that and more next.
Daily Iowan TV is ready to go.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for being with us this Monday evening for Daily Iowan TV. I'm Christina Targos.
And I'm Brad Maxwell. 3 hours. That's how close to the edge Congress has put the U.S. government from facing a shutdown on Tuesday. The effects would kick in at midnight, and here with us now for our Monday political alert is Daily Iowan TV's Reed Chandler to give us the major points.
Brad, we all could say we saw this coming. After an intense week of heated debate between both chambers of Congress last week, it doesn't look like Republicans or Democrats plan on budging. Let's start with a quick recap. How did this happen? October 1st is the new fiscal year for the U.S. government, and every year Congress must agree on budget spending in order for government services to continue receiving funding. In other words, the ability to function at all. The Democrats passed the law. It was challenged by Republicans, but found constitutional by the Supreme Court, and all that's left for the Republicans to defeat it would be to starve it of money. So now we're 3 hours from midnight, and once that calendar changes to October 1st, unless some miracle occurs minutes before, we're looking at the first government shutdown the U.S. has experienced in more than 17 years. So let's pause and break down what a shutdown actually means. National parks would close down. About a quarter of federal government's 3.3 million employees, that's hundreds of thousands of federal workers, would be furloughed, or in other words, told to stay home from work without pay until the shutdown ends. And new passport applications would be stalled. So if you're expecting to study abroad in the near future and don't have that passport renewed, you may want to reconsider plans. Now, military and essential public safety, health, and welfare operations will continue to operate, but many of those workers will be furloughed, so resources will be slimmer. The effects of a shutdown on our economy would include a stall in the recovery of the housing market and the economy in general through federal spending programs. Also, the stock market is taking a big hit on the possibility of a shutdown. The Dow Jones Industrial Average recently fell by 1%, and the other major indexes fell as well. The impact on students won't be as harsh, though. Federal loans and programs like ROTC will continue to function, and the postman will still deliver your mail. Americans are not happy with either side of the debate. A new CNN ORC poll indicates 68% think a shutdown is a bad idea. 69% think Republicans are acting like spoiled children over the issue, but a close 58% think the same way of the Democrats. So what can we expect to happen if the shutdown does indeed start on Tuesday? Well, the last shutdown lasted for 21 days. Despite the economic struggles it did cause, the government did recover. Midterm elections are coming up next November, though, and it will be interesting to see if in 2014 Americans hold their elected officials accountable for this failure. Guys?
Government shutdown, not a good situation for anybody.
No, not at all, but at least it won't affect the college students too much.
Exactly. For some underprivileged families, food stamps can be the difference between dinner and going to bed hungry. House Republicans recently approved nearly a $40 billion cut to the food stamp budget. Although the final budget decision is happening miles away, the cuts to the food stamp program could hit much closer to home than you might think. The warehouse at the Crisis Center of Johnson County could soon be a little harder to fill.
Per month, we're seeing around 1,000 visits from households in need of assistance.
That need will only increase if the Senate approves the $40 billion cut to food stamps. These tighter restrictions follow a Republican majority vote to limit government spending. Although the cut has not been officially approved, local members of the community are already fearing the repercussions.
We will need to ask the community for more support because we're going to be seeing more clients. Clients are going to be visiting more frequently, and they're going to be taking more food when they come.
In Iowa alone, nearly $500,000 are given out each year in food stamps. But unlike traditional paper forms of food stamps, the new ones come in a debit card. These electronic cards make it easy for people to use, but some lawmakers believe they are leading to unnecessary spending. When asked why the cuts are occurring now, University of Iowa political science professor Tim Hagel responded through email, saying, quote, "Some believe many receiving such benefits are taking advantage of the system and that they are capable of doing work, but have given up looking for a job." The Crisis Center, however, doesn't make this distinction.
We allow our clients to self-identify. So anyone who feels that they are in need of food assistance can receive food from the Crisis Center if they live in Johnson County, Iowa.
I was there today. Lots of people going in and out using the Crisis Center resources without any of the budget cuts even being approved yet.
And I'm sure a lot of those people do rely on the food stamps to help keep food on their tables and feed their families.
Right, exactly. I'm sure even more will have to depend on if these cuts go through. There's still much more coming your way on Daily Iowan TV.
We'll show you an inside look into a popular business.
And if you're an avid bike rider, this class on campus may just suit you.
And in sports, your latest edition of the Whip Around.
But first, we'll hand it off to Daily Iowan TV's Marissa Mahalik for your weather update. Marissa?
Thanks, Brad. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful beginning of the week, but we can expect to see some rain by the weekend. Tomorrow, it's going to be a sunny day. We'll start off the morning at 60 degrees with sun in the sky. By the time afternoon rolls around, it will be 78 degrees, and tomorrow night will be 73 degrees. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, Wednesday will be 84 degrees and sunny. Thursday will be 81 degrees with a 30% chance of thunderstorms. Friday will be 78 degrees with a 60% chance of rain. By Saturday, it will drop down to 58 degrees with partly cloudy skies. And Sunday, we will wrap up the weekend with temperatures in the 60s with sunny skies. So for the most part of the week, it looks like we have a nice week ahead of us.
A HyVee employee shows our Daily Iowan TV reporter, Kara Bimslager, what she does to help shoppers make smarter choices while grocery shopping.
The word is getting out that HyVee has a new type of employee in the stores.
We try to make a presence known in the store for the customers that there is a dietitian on staff.
One of the ways they do that is through putting up signs around the store. Kathy has My Picks, which are foods she recommends to customers. She also puts up fun facts about some of the foods around the stores. One of the programs she helps with is called NuVal, which is a nutritional scoring system that gives foods a number based off the nutrients in the food. The higher the score, the richer the nutrients.
We should eat more of the foods with the higher scores. We should eat less of the foods with the lower scores and or eat them in the proper portions.
And Kathy says customers are a fan.
They do feel that it's helping them to eat healthier.
NuVal is at every HyVee store in the corporation. When showing clients around, Kathy usually starts here in the produce section, though she says every client is different. Depending on the client's specific needs, she can show them the gluten-free area or the meat sections. And while ice cream and soda may be tempting,
the good food needs to come first.
She shows me the difference in levels of sugar between a bottle of Mountain Dew and an apple. Kathy is hoping her work is making a difference.
Hopefully, like I said, these changes are going to start, making some impact.
For now, you can look out for her signs. This is Kara Bimschlager, Daily Iowan TV.
Kathy works at several of the HyVee locations here in Iowa City.
From the classroom to the shop, these students are getting a hands-on experience by building their own bicycles. They actually buy their own materials to work on in class. Students work under the instruction of Steve McGuire. He's been teaching the course for 3 years now. He says it's a difficult class and the students are taking on a lot. On top of the 4-hour class, it requires around 12 hours of outside work outside the classroom each week. Students need to have a background in modeling and a skilled eye for welding in order to succeed.
Like a lot of the terminology, like what the parts are called, the welding, which I've never done before. But
they design the bicycle and the frame with 3-dimensional software, and later they fabricate it into an actual bike. The beginning class uses steel for their bike frames. The advanced course takes on titanium. Nearly half of the students are engineering majors. The others major in art, but all have one thing in common. They'll end the semester with a new bike made by their own hand.
After a packed weekend of Hawkeye sports, let's toss it over to Cody Goodwin with all your Hawkeye sports coverage. Cody?
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Daily Iowan TV Sports Studio. We got a lot to cover, so let's get rolling. After a 23-7 victory over the Golden Gophers on Saturday, 3 more Hawks were handed down awards by various outlets. First was defensive coordinator Phil Parker, who was named the Big Ten Coordinator of the Week by Athlon Sports. Next was kicker Mike Meyer. The Lou Groza Place Kicker Award named Meyer and 2 others as Stars of the Week. Meyer made 3 field goals on Saturday, including a 49-yarder. Finally, senior linebacker James Morris was named Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week for his 8 tackles, 1 sack, and game-sealing interception against Minnesota on Saturday, helping Iowa to their 4th win of the year and their 4th in a row. With all of the positive attention on Kirk Ferentz's squad, that made us wonder, how confident are the Iowa students in the Hawks? We hit the streets to find out.
I feel confident. They bounced back after a tough loss week 1. They're looking good. They really are fixing all the problems that they had in week 1 and looking confident going into the rest conference.
Well, we've been playing exceptionally well. Things have been going pretty darn well, especially compared to last year when we've just completely not been doing very well. So my confidence in the team is growing with every single game, especially this last one when we have 2 consecutive awesome wins.
Well, I'm really reluctant to throw my full support behind the team because in past years, early indicators have always been great, in terms of non-conference games, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
And football wasn't the only Hawkeye sport in action this past weekend. Danny Payne kicks off our coverage of this week's edition of the Whip Around. Danny?
Thanks, guys, and welcome to Monday evening's edition of the Whip Around. I'm Danny Payne reporting here from Grant Field. This weekend, the 14th ranked Hawkeyes open their Big Ten schedule in Evanston, Illinois for a matchup with Northwestern. The 12th ranked Wildcats pounced on the Hawkeyes early, taking a 2-0 lead into halftime. However, the Hawkeyes came out strong in the second half, which is becoming a trend for this team. They got 2 goals from sophomore Natalie Cafone. Those 2 goals moved her into a second-place tie in the Big Ten in points with 20, and also a goal off a penalty corner from junior Danny Hemian. However, the Hawkeyes were tied at the end of regulation and lost 4-3 to Northwestern in halftime. Digging a little bit more into that trend, the Hawkeyes have scored 10 more goals in the second half than they have in the first and registered 13 more shots on the season. Now for more on Iowa soccer, let's send it over to Jalen Socek, who's standing by. Jalen?
Thanks, Danny. The Iowa soccer team notched its first conference victory yesterday against Northwestern. It was a scoreless match up until the 85th minute when senior Ashley Cottrell drew a penalty inside the box. Then Cottrell capitalized on that penalty kick, scoring a goal to bring the final score 1-0. Sophomore goalkeeper Hannah Clark grabbed her 6th shutout of the season with 8 saves against the Wildcats. The Hawks will return to the playing field this Thursday in Lincoln, Nebraska against the Huskers. And now we'll toss it to Taylor Axelson with the latest on the women's volleyball team. Taylor?
Thanks, Jalen. The University of Iowa volleyball team really struggled this past week as they fell both to Illinois and Northwestern 3-0. That puts a little bit of a shaky start to their Big Ten season as their record is now 0-2. The ladies are coming back this week. Wednesday, they'll be playing Pretty and Peak against Wisconsin for the Attack breast cancer match, and they'll be playing Minnesota on Saturday, who is so far undefeated in the Big Ten. That's it for your Monday evening whip round. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, guys. And before we leave you tonight, let's take a look at the updated AP Top 25 rankings as we do every Monday. The top 5 remains exactly the same for the 4th consecutive week, with Alabama, Oregon, Clemson, Ohio State, and Stanford rounding out the top 5. As we look at the rest of the top 25, other Big Ten teams continue to drop out. Northwestern ascends to number 16, while Michigan slides to number 19, with both having had bye weeks this past season. And Wisconsin, formerly number 23, has been dropped out of the rankings completely. However, Maryland, who will join the Big Ten Conference next season along with Rutgers, has cracked the top 25. And that's all we have for today in sports, but tune in tomorrow for our weekly coverage of Kirk Ferentz's press conference. Until then, back to you guys at the desk.
Daily Iowan TV is the only place to see what's going to be in Tuesday morning's Daily Iowan. Find out about the university's response to the significant jump in drug abuse violations reported by university police.
And hear about New York Times reporter Nick Kristoff's visit to Iowa City.
And find out about New Pioneer Co-op's potential 3rd store.
That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV. Be sure to check us out at the same time tomorrow or anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for watching and have a great night.